Hello, and welcome to another podcast. This is the December podcast. We already had one December already. December podcast for 2021, second edition. Okay, and we've actually doing this because we've got so many things that are ready to happen come January 1 that we thought we'd go ahead and do a second podcast in December to kind of cover all the little things that we've talked about. Remember to go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons on your computers, and that way you can actually see these when they actually come out. You'll be notified of the podcast, which is always a good thing because we don't always have time to get a newsletter out covering the things that I talk about in our podcast. Again, the reason we're doing this is because of the changes that are going to happen January 1. The very first thing, of course, is the vax. We've got almost all of our instructors, almost all 500, have responded to our vax, so a good portion have done that already. We've only got a handful that are not responded in either, yes, I've been vaxxed, or sending a copy of their card. Whichever way you wish to do it, it's fine with me, as long as we know that you've taken the steps to get yourself protected from the coronavirus. And again, come January 1, that's our deadline, so please get this done. And the majority of our folks that are watching this, we've got a little over 100 people that watch my podcast. Remember, you can tell your friends and family they can certainly watch our podcast. It's not limited to only instructors, although sometimes most of our information that we're putting out there is in fact to our instructors. But whatever. Anybody can watch this. It's open to the general public. So again, please get vaxxed, and come January 1, we need to know. Okay, enough said about that. We've got a problem with decertifying. You know, we are required to follow certain AHA guidelines, and then if our instructors are not following those guidelines, we have to decertify them. That just is the rules and regulations. As in the American Heart Training Center, we are responsible to follow those. And as an instructor through our training center, you are required to follow those. And I realize that in some cases, your instructorship is, this is my part-time job. But, even if you're working a part-time job, that part-time job is through PPM. And so, yes, we are responsible to you. You are responsible to us. That's how this works. And so when we send things out, whether it be email or podcast, there's a reason why we're doing that. We're trying to get information out to you so you can take care of what needs to be done. And in several cases, we've got Kathy sending out multiple emails, making multiple calls, leaving messages, and the instructor's not even responding. And so when it gets to that point where we decertify you, two things happen. One, you can no longer buy cards, you can no longer teach classes, and all the cards you currently have in stock are automatically sent back to us from American Heart, which then creates a problem of us trying to figure out what cards came back, trying to get a check off to you to cover those cards, which is a real nightmare, trying to get all that done. And then comes the situation that 3 months later, that instructor goes, oh, I didn't know I was decertified. Oh, no, I want to be an instructor. Well, then all that's got to get put back again. The card's got to be put back into your stock. She's got to contact Heart Association, reactivate your number. It literally can take a day or two of on the phone getting all this done. Okay, so that's a ton of time. And for our instructors that are following the rules, regulations, and following what we ask them to do, this takes time away from you. This is your time being used up by instructors that are not paying attention. And so I understand that, this isn't your main thing. CPR is not your main world. But if you're going to be a CPR instructor with us, you've got to follow the rules and regulations. So how's that happen? Well, if you go past your renewal date, many times we notify you prior to that happening that you're coming up on renewal, you got to get your monitors done, your dues have to be paid, and nothing happens. So you can only imagine the amount of paperwork that we go through every day trying to get instructors activated, reactivated, issuing cards, reissuing cards, getting the number back operational. Just takes a ton of time. And when we say a ton of time, that equals a ton of money. So we try to keep our cost to you, the instructor, to an absolute minimum so that you can teach more classes. That's really what this is all about. So when you buy your cards, when you buy your material from us, we keep it as literally as a few dollars over cost so that you can teach at a reasonable fee, that it's not a ridiculous price for your students. Well, when things like this happen, that takes a lot of our money, which means we have to increase our cost to you to cover this. I'm kind of at my wit's end because I'm not exactly sure why this is happening. And certainly it's not fair to the instructors that are following all the guidelines that we don't have a problem with, that we contact, they get right back to us, we get monitors scheduled, and get them done. So what we're going to do is start charging a reinstatement fee. Okay, now we've got dues, we've got fees like when we have to go in and fix cards for you, stuff like that. Well, now we're going to have a reinstatement fee. So if you've been decertified, you've been tossed out of the training center for whatever reason, didn't follow this, didn't pay your dues, for whatever reason, if you're tossed out of a training center, you can, one, join another training center. You don't have to be with PPM. Okay, we think we're the best training center out there. You may disagree, so you feel free to go with another training center. So the next question comes up, if we're going to charge a reinstatement fee, how much should that reinstatement fee be? Well, we argue with that. We go around rings with that, trying to figure how much something costs. Again, we're trying to keep prices to an absolute minimum. So I'm going to open it up to our instructors. For you guys watching this monitor, okay, send me an email. What do you think is a fair price to go through all the paperwork to get this person reinstated back with PPM? Okay, so, right now we have a dues of $50. So what do you think? What's our family think? Okay, we always refer to you guys as the PPM family, and you really are. I look at you guys as family members. So I'm asking my family, what should we charge for these people that literally haven't followed any of the guidelines and are now trying to be reinstated? Okay, so that's a question for you. Who would have ever thought that we'd be asking crazy things like that? But it is a new world. With that said, we've got kind of a good and bad news story that came in. And one of our fellow instructors, and like I said, it's an exciting story, but kind of a sad story with that too. One of our instructors who went out of state, she got all her stuff put together, doing everything she's supposed to do. And one of the things she wanted to do was go forth and actually start increasing her education. So her sister was her biggest fan member about, you can do this, I don't care, you can get this degree, you can push forward to that, you've always wanted to do this, and so just need to push forward. I don't care about COVID, I don't care about this, go online, get this thing done. With that said, her sister contacted her and said that she wasn't feeling very good and thought she had a cold. With that said, literally, having a cold is something we all hear about. There's certainly a bad cold going around right now. So although you think a little bit, okay, I'm sorry that you've got a cold or everything. Well, literally 9 days later, she died from COVID. 9 days. Okay, this was a really close relationship here with those two. And to lose her sister like that is just unbelievable and sad. But she thought through with the fact that her sister pushed her to go ahead and get this advanced degree and thought, you know what, for her, I'm going to get this done. She wanted me to do it. I'm not going to let this go. I'm going to do it. And she actually pushed forward. Like she says here, her sister was her cheerleader, and she got her doctorate. So that is quite a challenge. Anybody that's pushed forward to get more advanced degrees knows that a doctorate is not an easy thing to get. And really in this time and effort to be able to get that done is just fantastic. So there is good news out there. We've got instructors that really go so far above and beyond that we tend to lose sight of all the good things that are happening around us. Our fellow healthcare workers that are in the trenches again, trying to keep people from dying, especially those that for whatever reason chose to put themselves in that condition. But they literally selflessly get in there and almost sacrifice themselves to try to keep these people alive. So there's a lot of good going on out there. There's a lot of people that really do care. And as we're coming to a close of another crazy year, let's hope that 22 will be a time when we can actually change the tables around and really relax. I got my fingers crossed. But that's pretty much it. There really is no secret word for this because this is not a typical, hey, we're doing a training update. This is kind of one to kind of ask for your help and your understanding, and I'll be looking forward to those emails coming in with what do you think is a fair price. And my first podcast of the new year, I'll release what everybody came up with as a fair price for reinstatement. Okay, again, thank you for watching. Please be safe and good luck in the new year. And for those that I might have missed it, a Merry Christmas, post-Merry Christmas, everything for those folks. But fingers crossed and Happy New Year for everybody. Thank you.